Hi there, Kimberly Flanagan of Kimberlys Quilts. I recently made a video on how I use the Magic Wand feature when using Becky Thompson's Snapplique process. I had somebody reach out to me and she had a situation happening where the Magic Wand was not working in the way she anticipated it. She's very new to digitizing. She's very new to applique. And I figured if she's having that problem, there might be others that are having a similar problem. It was a very basic problem to fix. Didn't take me but a couple minutes. So I figured I'd get back on here, walk through what her problem was and how you can quickly and easily fix that. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see what she was encountering and how quick of a fix it actually is. I personally am a huge fan of using the Magic Wand feature because multiple reasons. First, it allows me to resize the images so that I can then do that in any size. I'm not then tied by I have to have a certain hoop size or that I can only buy designs that are, say, 10-inch, because what if I want them 12-inch? What if I want them smaller? By doing it this way, I can quickly and easily resize it into whatever size I want. The second reason I like it is so much faster and more efficient for me. I know everybody has their own personal preferences, and if you're doing Snapplique, I encourage you to watch Becky Thompson, Power Tools with Thread, and how she aligns everything. And other than the Magic Wand, I 100% follow her way of doing things. But I just find this faster for the projects that I'm on. Love her process. I want to give credit where credit is due. And she came up with this process. I just choose to bring my individual vector files in differently than she does. And the other reason is I just think that being able to take an image and convert it to applique without having to scan something on a Brother Scan and Cut, I can now use this on any cut file out there or a cutting machine out there. I can use this process on a Cricut or a Silhouette. I don't have to have the scan feature any longer because I can use something as simple as my cell phone to create an image and a file and use it. I can take a picture of my pattern and bring it in through my cell phone. Again, not trying to throw any type of water on Becky's process. It's an amazing process. How I came up with this was I actually have a friend who has a silhouette and she's like, I love the idea of this, but I don't want to go spend all this money on a scan and cut. So when I already have a cutting machine that I know how to use and I love. So by bypassing her first step of using the scan and cut and doing it this way, I created a way for my friend to be able to do Snapplique without having to have the scan feature of the scan and cut. So I'm going to get in here real quick and share my screen, and I'm going to walk you through what happened to my friend and then what we can do to fix that. So here I'm going to go share my Embrilliance. Put my glasses on and I'm going to move the picture of me out of the way. Okay, so what she sent me was an image file, and I'm going to go into Stitch Artist and I'm going to bring in the image. And she sent me a picture of this duck. It's on a cute little quilt that she's making. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn the image on right here where it says show or hide background image. I'm going to make sure I have that turned on. At this point, I can resize it and make this duck any size I want it to be. If you remember from the first video, I kind of use my 0 point here in the center to kind of center my duck. I don't know what size that she's going to make this duck, but we're just going to go with it at this size for today. Now, as you can see, she's got a body, she's got a beak. Let me zoom out a little. Body, a beak, and 2 legs. The first thing you have to understand is what is the layering of this applique, because there's no numbers on here. So when you look at it, you can see that The body would be the bottom. The beak would be on top of the face. And then the two duck feet will be on top. Now, this is personal preference. If you want to make these feet go underneath and this be an underneath element, you can do that as well based on how you bring them in. But for today's purposes, I'm going to show you these on top. I'm also going to show you how I can slightly change this because there's a few stitching out considerations that you may or may not want to take into effect. So first thing to get to creating them, given that we know the order in which we want these stitched out. Again, this is the magic wand button right here. So when I click it, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, this is my bottom layer. This is my next layer. And you can see over here in my objects panel that they are starting to be built. This foot is under this one. So I'm going to click this one and it's been created. Then I'm going to come over here and click this one. Now I'm going to come out of the magic wand and I have 4 components over here. What was happening at this point for her was when she came in here and she selected these and she said, I want to convert these to applique and I want it to be a blanket stitch. If you notice here, she's got stitches going in towards the bottom and in towards the beak. And she's also got some too close down here. So she said, I don't know how to fix this. So it was a very simple fix. I'm going to back out of that so that I'm back to my line drawings. First thing that I told her to do was to come in here and turn your image off so that I can see my individual pieces. I hope you can see that. Let me see if I come in here and if I change the color to them, if you can see them better. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. Now, as you can see, we've got a little funky things happening. That's because of the line of the diagram that we have, but that's easy to fix. So let's come in here, and the first thing I told her to do is let's take your beak and let's move it away. Now let's zoom in on our face here and let's start fixing him. I can come in here and all of these dots are what are known as design points. I'm in a line drawing and I can now come in and edit these. If I come in here and I highlight the point and then I just hit delete on my keypad, you will see that they start to disappear. And as they start to disappear, the shape of this starts to change. Oops. Okay, I'm going to come in here and as I do this, see how it starts to straighten out? It starts to fill in that circle. Oops, I did not mean to delete the whole thing. Let me undo that. And now you can start to see as some of these design points disappear that it's filling this in and making it a circle. Just like, in all probability, the original design of her components were in Becky's process. The reason she had the stitches going in both directions is because she did not have anything underneath another element in order for you to use the remove hidden stitches feature. So now this will be underneath my beak. I can turn my image back on. I can find my beak that I moved aside. I'm going to turn my image back on. I'm going to find my beak, and now I can bring my beak back and I can line it back up. Now, if I go in and if I remove my hidden stitches, you're no longer going to have this have the applique stitches on it. Let me show you what I mean. If I go in here now and I select these, and now I convert them to applique stitches, and I make it the blanket stitch. You can see that this applique piece is underneath the beak. All I have to do to get rid of that is come in here and use the scissors to remove the hidden stitches. This is what she was expecting, and this is what she was wanting. So that quickly, I was able to take the scanned image, and I didn't have to line anything up. I didn't have to resize anything. I didn't have to rotate anything. That quickly, I fixed her problem. Okay. I'm going to get out of here because I want these to be line drawings again. I want to continue to show you a few things. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in so that we can look at the points up here. If I show you here, if I want to fix this and move this out, it's simply done by changing my design points here and moving them around. As you can see, when you digitize, or maybe just delete it, deleting it will straighten out a line. I can come in here and fix these little inconsistencies very easily. But what I want to show you is down here on her feet, okay? If we look here at her feet, you can see that because these points here are so close together, it did not create this entire foot here. So what I told her that that's a quick and easy thing to fix as well. What I did is I came in here and I said, okay, we're going to take these 2 feet. We're going to move this one aside. This is the one that's on top, and we're going to be left with this one. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn the image off so that it's not in our way. When I click on this, I can come in here and I can move these design points so that they're now going to be underneath the next piece. Removing some, and I move the one. My mouse is very finicky. I can come in here if I don't want this to be a little jaggedy, but it's a duck's foot. So yes, we do want it a little jaggedy. I can also come up here and I can fix this little indentation that, again, the line drawing created. Simply by deleting those 2 design points, I've straightened out the foot. But here's part of the problem that she was having. These are so close together that when she does her blanket stitch, it becomes just an overstitching of items. So I told her, you can come in here and select that point and simply move it out slightly. Make the foot a little bit wider and change the dynamic of this foot a little bit. Come out here, make this foot a little bit wider and change the dynamics of this foot. Clean it up slightly. Now I can come back in here, I can turn my image back on, and I can see exactly where I need this to be. So I'm going to come back in here, I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to expand some of these design points and locate them where I want them to be, so that now, move this one down here. That quickly, I have it outlined instead of it not being, all over here and jumbled. I'm going to remove this one because I want that to be more curved. And I intentionally came up here, and this is where I made my foot wider. Now I can come in here and select my top foot, the one that's going to be on top of everything, and I can move it back into place. However, if you remember, I told you that there's this little teeny tiny gap in here, and it was going to become a hot mess when you start stitching here. So I suggested that she slightly raise this foot so that she has a bigger gap here and the stitches aren't overlapping each other. The other thing that you'll see here is she can come in here and clean these dots up. And that quickly, we have a duckbill that if I turn the image off, now that looks a lot better. But then she said, how do I fix this? I said, okay, let's go in. Same thing we did with the beak. We're going to go in here and we are just simply going to remove these few stitches. And you'll see that it rounded that body out and that line is now underneath. Oops, I keep deleting the duck's body. I come in here, get rid of those few stitches. Each one of those dots is a stitch, or not a stitch, a design point. If I come in here and get rid of them, it's going to connect from the last piece. Now, all she has to do is come back in here. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say remove hidden stitches. And when I come in here, oops, sorry, hadn't converted it to applique yet. I'm going to convert the entire thing to applique. You're going to see I have those few stitches under there. Now, when I come in and I remove the hidden stitches, the applique stitches here are gone, what she wanted, what she expected. And if you come up to the top here, the applique stitches here are gone. And it is lined up the exact same way that it would have been done if you had scanned in each one of these components. So in less than 3, maybe 5 minutes, I was able to clean up the magic wand digitizing where she didn't have things overlapping correctly for what she wanted. The other thing that I did point out to her is that you can come in here and you can define the stitching length for each one of these pieces individually. If I come in here and I see the stitch width or I see the stitch length, I may not want it as close in here on my feet because of the number of stitches it's going to create. So I might come in here and select these two, and I might change my stitch length and my stitch width. The stitch length is how far apart they are. And I might make it a little bit longer, a little bit cleaner there. I might put how long they are a little bit smaller so that they don't go out. Just so that when you look at the feet, you're not just seeing a whole bunch of thread and not whatever the feet pattern material might be made out of. I hope this helps any of you guys that might be struggling with why your magic wand is not having all of your pieces show up under each other. Quick and easy way to do it just by understanding in your line drawings what the design points are and how you can easily delete them or move them. Hope that helps.